Tennessee WildCast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. Kind of got a rough start there, I think, but we are live on Facebook and excited to be here. Got Miss Mimi Barnes with me. She's
happy to be here.
Yeah, Region 3 information folk, information PIO. I'll get it right here in a minute. Information coordinator for Region 3. We appreciate her being here. We got Mr. Ben Layton with us today. He's our
big game.
Regional big game biologist.
Yep, for Region 3. And then Mr. Joe Towers with Hero Hunts, Inc. He's the president. So
yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. We are live at Fall Creek Falls State Park at their golf course clubhouse and excited to be here.
Yeah, at the pro shop here. Men have been out all morning hunting. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a sec.
So it's a big day, a chance for our heroes, men of service, to take a deer out here on Fall Creek Falls. They've got an abundance of them, and just gives us an opportunity to give folks a chance to get outdoors and also help manage deer herd.
Yes.
So, and we'll talk more about that in more detail. Hey, there's a lot going on right now. Deer season is in full swing.
Waterfowl season's in full swing.
Duck, goose, sandhill cranes. You can hunt sandhill cranes right now if you were drawn and have a tag. So make sure you
check in for sandhill cranes is online this year. So keep that in mind when you harvest the crane.
Right. Yep. And I think if you were drawn for the Southeast Crane Zone, you can't do it online. You still have to do it the old-fashioned way. But the folks who were drawn for the statewide tags can do it online, which is at tmwildlife.org or on the app. So that's,
and the hunters need to make sure they take the crane ID test before they go out. So
make sure you know what you're shooting at. Yeah. Take that crane ID test. Information is in the guide on page 24 for that, and the test is online at tnwildlife.org. All the information for waterfowl seasons is on page 22, 23. Deer and all that kind of stuff is on back on page, I'll tell you so you know, starting on page 30 with our CWD restrictions, and on after that are the seasons, the units, and bag limits, and all that kind of stuff. Always check your hunting guide. I don't know what camera we're on, but right there at tmwildlife.org.
And make sure that you check out that online hunting guide, because any corrections have been made, and they're on that online at tnwildlife.org.
Correct. So that's the most up-to-date information right there on our website. Like we said, we're here with Mr. Ben Layton and Joe Towers, and we appreciate them being on the show, and I appreciate Mimi setting this up. We're live on location here at Fall Creek Falls, and that's pretty cool. I'll enjoy that.
It is a beautiful park to be at, and I'll kick us off just by asking a little bit. You know, so many great employees across the state that are so dedicated to wildlife, and sometimes we forget to highlight y'all. So I wanted to ask Ben, how long have you been with Tennessee Wildlife?
Well, since 1986.
So how many years is that?
Roughly 32. So.
Wow.
I can't do the math. Wow. And how many years have you been the big game biologist in Region 3?
Since about 2002. Yep.
So I watch Ben out in the field. He works 24/7. We see him working, helping homeowners with hog issues to helping collect samples for chronic wasting disease. I talked to Ben a few days ago, and he had covered 5 counties, going to all those different processors, taking chronic wasting disease samples. So you're busy.
Yeah, this time of year.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's all year long.
It's getting where it is all year long. So.
Ben, what is one of your favorite things about this job?
Well, I guess the variety, actually, because I handle big game, which includes deer, bear, hogs, not necessarily big game anymore, but it covers hogs, a little bit with elk, and also cover waterfowl. And the unique part about it, the part I like, is every few months I'm doing something entirely different. So that it's nice to have that variety. So.
And I see your involvement across at least Region 3, and I know that goes beyond sometimes with your work, but I see your involvement with our hunts, and we do several in the region, including Hamilton County, which just took place I don't know.
Enterprise South Nature Park. Yeah.
How many weeks ago was that? 3?
It was October 15th and 16th, so we
Oh,
can
maybe
backdate
even
it to
longer.
that. So yeah.
It's been a while.
And now here we are at Fall Creek Falls, and that's why Joe's joining us today. But I watch your involvement in those, and I see your interaction with the hunters that come up, and not just the hunters, but the guides that are willing to go out with the hunters, and we're so appreciative for that. And the partnership with Fall Creek Falls, that they're willing to come forward and help us out.
Yeah, it's great to see all these hunters coming in and out here behind us. Some with deer, some without, but they're having a great time, enjoying themselves. So let's hear some details on how this got started. How do we gain this partnership? How does this hunt get started, and why are we doing it?
Well, we probably, at least in our region, it kind of kicked off with the hunt we had there at Enterprise South Nature Park. Basically, we had a situation where the park came to us wanting us to help them control their deer herd. They were a little bit fearful from both the public and a safety reason for having guns inside the park. So we came up with a plan to allow people that we thought were or should be experienced with firearms, our veterans.
Right.
And it was really a win-win, both the park here and at Fall Creek Falls and at Enterprise to get those hunters in there. It gives us ability to give back something to these soldiers that have sacrificed so much for our country, and it's also great that we can utilize them to help us control that deer herd. And it's something like this group right here at Fall Creek Falls. Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's like that this group of 1,500 represents about 164 years of service to our country, either through the armed services or we have a couple of firemen and policemen.
2 police officers, yes, sir.
Yeah. And out of that group, as far as recognition goes, there's like 2 individuals, 2 of our hunters have 2 Bronze Stars apiece, and we have 2 Purple Heart veterans also in that. So really,
Well, we've been working with veterans and men of service for a long time with our hunts, and it's great to be able to give back that way. That's one way we can as an agency, and other folks that are involved have a heart for it for sure. Joe, tell us how we came across, how we got connected, and how now the TWRA is working with you and finding these guys to take on these hunts.
Well, we started the Hero Hunt Inc. in 2012. We just wanted to reach out and share some of the fortune and bring some people to our farm, and we saw that there was a bigger need, and we filed for our nonprofit status in 2013, and we started reaching out. I'm a police officer.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, and a vet. So we wanted to reach out and do something for the veterans, but we also wanted to include our first responders and our police officers that get injured in the line of duty and bring them into the fold as well. We started. I made acquaintance with Don Hossey, who works with you all, and we started working with Don, and then we were fortunate enough to get to work with you all up here, and just proud to be here. I never thought we would be where we're at, and I really appreciate it.
How many hunts have you done across the state? And it's not just hunts, I know.
No, right. We did a turkey hunt. We've done with TWRA. We've done a turkey hunt, a bass tournament, and now 3 deer hunts just this year. Overall, we have had 155 hunters from January through the last hunt. We've got one more hunt coming up. But at the end, it's 155 or 160. We're looking at a couple of things right now, so we may make the 160 mark. When we started in 2012, we had a total of 15. We had 3 3-day weekends with 5 hunters to a weekend. And we realized there was a need, besides just that 4 months of deer season, to do other things. So we started getting into the turkey hunts, the dove hunts. I take that back. We did a dove hunt down there with Buffalo Ridge in the western as well. So we wanted to be there year round. So we started the dove hunts, the turkey hunts, the fishing, and it's continuing to grow and getting people back out of their maybe a bad place or a bad situation or thinking about things that aren't great and getting them back into what we do and getting them back in the fold with like-minded people. So
they go through a lot when they're overseas or wherever they might be serving, and it's just a chance, like a chance to give back and get their minds off things.
And it's also a healing process for some of them. We've had some that just said, this is an event in their life, being able to come back out, and it gives them a reason for continuing on. So
absolutely.
So Ben and Joe, tell me, how many hunters are out there today, and how each of them is placed with a guide? Tell us, Ben, a little bit about that, and then Joe, if you could tell us where these hunters are from.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we've got 15 hunters out today. That's what our quota is for this hunt. So far, they've brought in 4 deer, and we're expecting the weather. Usually, we've had this hunt for about 4 years now, and it seems like it's always bad weather when we're out here. And
I can attest to that.
It actually snowed on them a little bit today, but actually, we probably are close to surpassing our harvest for last year, just because we had a 2-day rainstorm last year that they were hunting in. So, but one thing, it's not also with the hunters. There's a lot of other partnerships that we have. I want to mention Safari Club International, the Music City chapter. They are supplying. I say they're always supplying all the good stuff. We just kind of provide the shell or the framework with the hunts. But they're have worked with the park in supplying lodging, where the hunters are staying in a group lodge. Also, SCI supplied the meals, and Fine Cook. Doing all the good cooking for them, and also the park. The park has been real receptive, for this hunt, and has been just facilitating the hunt. I mean, they've been really great at doing that. The Matt Brown, one of the rangers, has pretty much put out all our blinds, or most of the blinds for us, for the hunters, and Jacob Young, the park manager, very supportive of the hunt. And actually, Jacob today took out a hunter, and I can't remember. Yeah, and his hunter was successful.
Where do all those guides come from?
The guides come from SCI, Safari Club International supplies most of the guides, and then we kind of fill in the gaps with our personnel. And you were talking about good things in my job. Good things is working with our people. I mean, our guides and our agency support for this hunts include like 2 law enforcement districts, personnel helping from 2 law enforcement districts, and also a couple different wildlife management areas. And in other job duties I do, we even get people from fisheries helping us. So it's really blessed to work in a region where we're all working together.
It's true.
It's all hands on deck.
It really is.
It's amazing how kind of the talents that we have across the agency, and divisions helping divisions for sure.
Yeah, and I always like to remind everyone, we're so often questioned, but all of us hunt and fish. There are very few people in the agency that do not. So we're avid outdoorsmen and women as well, and we're fortunate. Walk in every day and work with people who like what we like.
Yeah.
And you mentioned putting the blinds out. How do you decide where these blinds are going to go? Which hole has the most deer?
Well, everybody wants that question, or wants to answer that question. But yeah, we were, like I said, I mentioned Matt Brown, the one of the rangers here. The park staff has the most intimate knowledge of the area. So, I mean, we've of course we always have miscues too. We've got 2 blinds that we had like 19 blinds out and only 15 hunters. So we left some blinds vacant, and then that's where we're seeing the deer at is the vacant blinds right now. So, and I think Joe was going to talk about the where the hunter, a lot of these soldiers come from really across the country.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir. This hunt, we've got 3 gentlemen here from Florida. We've got a gentleman here from Georgia, and then across Tennessee. But we've had people from as far as California. We had a hunt this past weekend. We had a gentleman drive all the way from South Dakota to come hunt with us. We've had gentlemen from New Hampshire. So it's not just, here locally. We're bringing people in and getting them back in. But we've done hunts in other states too. But, I mean, we're really getting the word out, and that we appreciate this because it gets the word out to them that we're here, and we can start bringing them in to do other things in the state here as well.
So I mentioned to both of you before, 2 of the biggest questions we get is how can I be in on the hunt, or how can I guide a hunt?
For us, we work with injured military police, fire, first responders who've been injured in the line of duty. They can contact us at herohuntinc@gmail.com, or they can reach us through our webpage, or they can send us through the email or the webpage or Instagram or any of our social media outlets. They can contact us. We'll tell them what information we need. We verify, everybody that comes through, and we start figuring out which event would best fit their need, and then we start working them into those events.
And when we do hunt with Hero Hunt Inc., we always tag y'all. So if someone's interested and you're watching us through social media right now, you will make sure you have that contact information.
Thank you.
Yep.
What if someone wants to guide? You mentioned SCI.
Yeah, SCI, we partner at Enterprise with the Chattanooga chapter, and then partner with the Music City chapter for the Fall Creek Falls. So, like I said, we rely a lot of on them to providing guides. So, get with those organizations if you're interested. Also, there's other aspects to volunteers other than guiding. We've got students from Cleveland State that are coming up to help us process not necessarily process, but collect biological data off the deer. And actually, we ask all the hunters when they come in to let us know what they saw, so we can move hunters around to some of the better blind sites. So they're doing that for us. So there are other opportunities for us to utilize volunteers, so they could contact us to do that too.
Through the Region 3 office.
Yeah.
And all that contact information is always at the bottom of our website, TN Wildlife.
.org. Yeah, tnwildlife.org.
And
Use it every day.
And I'm always amazed, at the support we get from the local community. Like when we have there's a local processor here that's handling, really giving us a cut rate on deer processing for the soldiers, and the part that the processor won't pick up, SCI is covering it, so it's 100% free for the hunt participants. We've got local taxidermists, including one of the professors from Cleveland State, that's going to donate taxidermy services.
Wow, that was going to be my next question.
Like the hunt down at Buffalo Ridge, one of the local restaurants, I guess I'll give them a plug. The Log Cabin Restaurant.
It's a great place to eat.
Yeah, they'll go and bake a whole bunch of pies and desserts for the soldiers down there. Really good stuff. So
that's great. It's amazing the community that surrounds these efforts. So people want to serve, and that's how they can do it.
So, Joe, I wanted to ask, we hear about the conversations that take place in the blinds, but I'm guessing you, more so than any of us, hear those stories, and I wondered, what do you think this means to all these men of service that are out in the blinds?
Well, I was talking to one of the guys this morning, and he came on one of our original hunts in 2012 or 13, and he said, I didn't think I could get back out. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't think I physically could do that anymore. We brought him in, and he said that it reopened a passion from the past to get back into the woods. We've had actually wives and husbands, whichever the hero was, their spouse actually email us and say when they come back they're less stressed. Their life seems like they kind of get back plugged into what is important, and they're not having that daily pressure. They get that break from that, and it makes a difference in relationships at home. And you can't even, I could stand here for an hour and tell you the pluses and how great it is, but it's just, the hunting was my passion, and I wanted to serve and figure a way that we could make this work, and the hunt is the excuse to bring everybody together. It's more about the healing process and being with like-minded people, and it worked out that way.
What other opportunities are there out there, if it's not with the agency, with the wildlife agency, but other stuff y'all are doing?
A lot of the stuff that we do comes to us from other people who have a location, like to do a predator hunt or a pig hunt or something like that. So a lot of the stuff we do away from when we're not with TWRA, people going, hey, we would like to host a fishing tournament. We'd like to come out and do a pig hunt or a deer hunt. So we're only limited by the amount of the amount of support we get from the community, and we get a lot of people call in. So this year alone, total, we've done a duck hunt, we've done 2 turkey hunts, we did 3 or 4 dove hunts, we've done, I think at the end of the year we'll have five deer hunts, and we've done a fishing tournament, and then we did another fishing event on Percy Priest Lake with a couple local guides on a striper fishing. So we're always looking to expand. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, we do a lot. It just depends on what we get coming in and then where we're able to plug people in at.
So if a landowner or anybody in the community wanted to reach out to you through your website, through your social media, that kind of stuff, reach out to you.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully you can accommodate, or they can accommodate, and
yes, sir.
Put
Absolutely.
something together.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, anything else you wanted to hit on, Mimi, before we hit on other stuff here?
Well, you all mentioned all the support that we get in the community, and it is a beautiful thing. I can say these 2 days are two of my favorite days of the whole year because we come here. We have a warm place, and usually we're out in the cold, and it's a little bit warm in here, and that's wonderful. But we get all the support from the community. I just want to make sure we weren't missing anybody.
Well, I just thought of one. Was prompted by somebody to mention that really we Flowers Bakery there in Crossville supplies a lot of snacks
time.
that they provide. A lot of the little snacks that a hunter can put in their pack and take with them to the blind. So we're really appreciative of them for doing those donations for us.
And Mr. Tanner Hillis plays music that first night that the hunters come in and guides come in and provides that entertainment, and we see those conversations going long into the night, and old friends coming back together, and I really appreciate and love that part of it.
And even here, like some of the park staff, they're actually the hunters, because we're hunting around the golf course here. We can't have the deer field rest out on the golf course or close to it, so they're hauling them and they're down there field resting them for us, and we really appreciate that. That's a long. I do that on some of these other hunts, and it's sometimes not really. You wonder if it's really appreciated, but really appreciate it and them doing that.
I can tell you from watching how much you guys work down there and how long it takes to process deer, I appreciate it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's a chore. The hunt's fun, but then the work begins once the deer's on the ground.
It's true.
Well, if there's nothing else, we wanted to highlight the Sandhill Crane stuff.
So the Sandhill Crane Festival will be January 19th and 20th. If you're an avid wildlife watcher or bird watcher, it is a unique place. The Hiawassee Refuge is not open to the public year-round. There's a viewing area, but buses will leave the Birchwood Center. It's 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. both those days. There's entertainment there at the Birchwood Center, and then we bus people out to the refuge because we can't have 3,000 people driving onto the refuge. But great bird watching. There are whooping cranes, endangered whooping cranes being sighted right now. I think 5 are in the area. White pelicans, which is really unique. And then we're watching those golden eagles make their way back towards, we have tracking devices on golden eagles, and we're watching them make their way back towards Tennessee.
Wow.
And we already have bald eagles in the area, and it's great bird watching if you're a wildlife watcher.
If you've never been, there's a lot going on at the Birchwood School you mentioned, or at Birchwood Community Center now, I guess maybe. But
it is.
There's music. There's
They mentioned Tanner Hillis. He's going to be there.
Tanner will be there with us,
cool.
bless his heart. And food in the cafeteria. And Jamie Fedderson with the agency is coming down to talk to folks about Sandhill cranes and vendors.
Yes, Jamie was on last week for the show, and,
Yes.
and we mentioned it then. But I know you have a bigger passion for it, and you're on the committees that make it happen. So
it's just a fun time. We have people come from across the United States, and we've even had people come from outside the United States, Canada and Europe, to come down and see these birds. And we've had upwards of 12,000 birds on the refuge. So it is a unique place to see this bird on the ground.
yeah. I was going to mention one other thing. Second Nature. Second Nature going to be there this
Oh
year?
yeah, Second Nature is going to be there. It's a great recording group out of Nashville, and just fun. Really upbeat music. Backyard picking meets. No. Yell it out, Don King, because he's in the house. Where front porch picking meets the great outdoors, and it really is. They're such a lighthearted group, and all TWRA past or present employees. So we're always fortunate to have them join us each year.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great event, and once again, rattle off the dates so people don't forget.
January 19th and 20th. So that Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. It's always that weekend every year, and this year it falls on the 19th and 20th.
And my son's birthday weekend.
Ah.
So yeah, the crane season will shut down for a few days there for the festival, and then pick back up. But that's a great time and a great chance to go do some wildlife watching for sure.
And I will plug BASIC, the Birchwood Area Society Improvement Council, and the Cherokee Removal Memorial. They're prime partners with us. If you've never been to the Cherokee Removal Memorial, you can take the bus there that weekend. Miss Nancy does a great job. We always tag her on Facebook too, so you can follow them. It's a really humbling place to visit, and it's beautiful. just a beautiful setting, and it's also a great place to bird watch. And we have volunteers at both those locations with scopes set up those days.
Okay, yeah, great. So you can see those birds, get up and close and personal with them.
It's true.
And then remember our Facebook page. We've got an event out there where you can tell us if you're going or not. So we'll kind of get an idea how many people's going to be showing up. Share that event on Facebook and let us know if you're going to be there or not. One other thing I wanted to plug real quick, and we got a couple minutes, is that we're on Fall Creek Falls State Park here on the golf course, but there's beautiful falls, and you were telling me some information about those earlier, and you may not have the exact numbers, but one of the largest falls.
It's the tallest waterfall east of the Rocky Mountains.
Okay.
And they get a lot of visitors from everywhere. It's a really well-used state park, and it's a beautiful place. When you're driving through, you're sure to see deer.
Oh yeah, I've played the course a couple times, and I've seen deer on the course. And we camped out here last summer. It was nice, and there's a lot to offer. Oh, right there goes a deer right across the hole. I'm not joking, folks. There's a deer running across the. What hole is this? Do we know?
There's two more that way too.
Oh, there they go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Perfect timing.
And everybody's at lunch.
Yeah.
She'll be grabbing a gun. Well, I can't do that.
So the hunters have broken for lunch, and they'll come back out around 2:30 today.
Or probably around. Well, we're trying to give them the option. And I was thinking we may get them out about 1:30 or 2.
So they'll be back in the blinds till
dark.
Till dark, and hopefully we'll see more success, and hopefully we'll help Fall Creek Falls manage their deer populations a little bit.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, come out here and visit the park and take in all that they have to offer. It's a great place to visit. Lot to do here. Go hiking, see the falls, and camping. And I'm sure there's more I'm missing. The golf course here, and we appreciate them giving us the opportunity to help out. And it's just a great partnership.
Yeah, I appreciate the partnership, and we'll be talking to Will Collier here on an upcoming episode a little bit more about the park. And
yeah, we're going to shoot another show today, and you'll see that air later in the week or later in the month or so. But talking more about the park and the other partnerships that happen here. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. If you're listening on the radio, we appreciate you, and we appreciate our radio partners for running the show on Saturday mornings. Most of them are Saturday mornings anyway. And then listen to WildCast Extra. It's out there on the radio as well. And then watch this show. Watch it on Facebook. Watch it on our website, tnwildlife.org. We're on Wilson County Television now, which is cool.
Very cool.
So watch it there. There's opportunities to catch this everywhere, whether it's web or out there on TV. And we appreciate y'all tuning in, supporting us. And it's all the information that you need to know as a wildlife, outdoor sportsman, enthusiast, all that. So.
And Joe, thank you so much for what Hero Hunt does. What
Yes.
an amazing group, and thank you for partnering with us, Ben.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for the work you do in the region, Ben. I see how tirelessly you work.
Well,
and,
we see how tirelessly you work too. So we're just trying to keep up with you.
I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Joe. And we'll see y'all next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.